Hello friends, welcome back. Good to have you just like always. And today you're probably looking at two methods I made just for one piece. Why did I do just this? And I'll tell you why in a minute. But first let me show you why I did what I did. Alright, now if you log in, now what I want to do in here is to first let's get rid of these things. And now let's go back to all items. Now what I want to do is to get these four options. That's a classic drop down, and then we can click it, but we don't need to click it. We are going to use select class for this. And if you're not familiar with select class, I highly recommend you check it out, do your research, then come back here. Oh, if you've seen it before, that's going to be pretty easy one for you, because we're just going to select these. But do you notice this is uppercase, lowercase, uppercase. This is just all lowercase, all lowercase. So we are looking for unique things here. For example, we can get A2 or Z2, or we can even get A, but we can also find A here, so we have to mention together A2 or Z2, because all other things are similar, so we're gonna get something. For example, we can get low, but there's also low here, so we're gonna say low 2. Searching by text, we're gonna gather options and then go from there. And then if we have time, we can check the price range and stuff like that. Now that's out of the way. Let me tell you what I did and why I did. Okay, and this is this funny story of working on some elements using this line exactly. I'm telling you, this is gonna get you stale element, which is right here. All right. So what is stale element anyways, right? Well, I will tell you to look it up on your free time. I can tell you this much. An object that we're using, for example, this web element right here, may change or get deleted inside the HTML DOM. And whenever it's changed slightly or refreshed or done something to it, right? There's a minor change in there, then our driver cannot understand it. So which is why I put here this driver.navigate.refresh, but this is optional. You don't need to do this. But I just put it for safety. So even if our object change, if I refresh it, possibly it could help fix that problem that we have. And guess what? We're still getting stale element off of this one. Does it do what we want to do, which is just to click to the one we say? We're searching for this one. Yes, that's doing it. So it's clicking, but this is not the main guy. This is the backend guy. And actually, I'm handling the stale element and the next one. Do you see select option right here at line 30? I handle select option with the try catch block, which is one of the ways you can handle stale element exception. And this is just going to print us the link to a stale element reference, and you can read it on your free time. Now, how do we select an option? So if you've inspected this element, let's inspect. Now, if you notice, this is a select class. You can see it has a class name, product sort container. Also, it has another attribute, data test. It's also the same name, right? So if we write, let's do Control F, and let's get one of them. So let's copy this. And you can see select options, right? So we just need this for our select object, all right? So since it's a class, we can say dot this, whatever. Now you can see we can use this one. And let's cut this one and then paste it right here. So you can see what I'm talking about. Now, the other one is, they're both CSS selectors. Do you see this one? Data test, and then the same name. So let's do that one. How do I do that? So the same thing, what's the attribute? So you would open your bracket in the CSS selector and type in data test the way you see. And you can see it's already highlighting it. But there's also 7 of them. So we have to be explicit on saying what data test you're talking about, right? And then let's add the text right here. And then close it and close it. And there you go. Now, if you look at this data test product sort container, and I put it in single quotes, but you can also use double quotes most probably, and there's only one of them. It's the same one, and inside our code, I use data test sort container. Now, you can also try this one, see which one is working for you. Now, and then what did we do? We used the select element, and I put a note here, create the select object of the element options, because we know this element has 4 options, and you've probably seen the options. A to Z, Z to A, low to high, high to low, right? So these are the options. Now, and then what's going on here? List of web element. Because it's multiple, you have to store it inside a container that can hold more than one element. In this case, I chose list of web element, which is a class C. And here it's just a for each or enhanced for loop, whatever you call it. And I told you why I used refresh, because of the stale element. But this is kind of like there as a backup. It's not doing much other than refreshing the page. And then I'm saying if this element, and then this element is one of the options, is uppercase. You've seen A to Z, right? So let me show you one more time. You see A to Z is uppercase. So I'm saying get me everything in lowercase. Do you see when you click to it, it's also making it uppercase on its own screen. So it's also doing something like we're doing. So we're doing the opposite. I'm saying when you get the text, make it lowercase, because I'm going to compare it with text that you provide right here. This text is what you provide right here. But I'm saying also make it lowercase regardless. Whenever you make it lowercase, you know, you can make sure they're working. It's almost similar to using equals ignore case, something like this that string class has, if you remember this one. And here what we're doing it manually, making them both go to lowercase so we can do comparison between. And then finally, if that's what I'm talking about, which is this text you're searching, that one click. And again, this is going to return a stale element, but we're only interested in functionality as far as we're concerned. So we're going to handle it inside filter by method, which is down here. And all it does is inside a try catch block, call your method, which is select option with the text. And that's the parameter you plug in again, and then catch stale element. So you can also do this, and if you don't put nothing here, that's okay. But let's put this one, or sometimes people type here ignored. So you know that's ignored like this. All right. So that's out of the way. And why did I use 2 methods like this? Step 1, because when I show you guys, I try to make it clear and easier. So I'm just going to move it to the top. And so, you know, this method is part of that other method. This method is part of this method. Now let me show you how we can use this. All right. Now, what we need to do inside right here, I created a defects package. And these are the bad working ones that previously I'm working on these things. So, and you will see these defects when I push this code to GitHub, and you guys can help out, make them better. Now let's create a new class inside the tests. Let's say filter tests. And inside of here, we need to get, let's go to redshirt test. If you notice, I made the before nested class one-liner, and I'm going to add them here. Now, if you pay attention, these are my boilerplate code, and I will get rid of them soon. But until then, we have to keep adding them because we need a sign in and we need a quit. And Cucumber can take care of it pretty easily by using hooks, and it's handling it in the background if you're familiar with it. But I'm not going to use Cucumber, I'll use a different technology. Now, let's go forward. And what I want to do is, first, let's add our filter test. And let's add our annotation. That's going to be a rather short one. And let's add a description. Now here, if you look at right here, we have A to Z, Z to A, low to high, high to low. So let's write them down and say use lowercase and type, let's say type low to or high to or A2 or Z2. Now, A2 will not work. Why? I mean, it will work, but it will not see a difference because when you refresh the page, let's log in, it's already A to Z, right? It's a default selection. So we don't have to do this one. So A2, I'm just going to get rid of it because that's a default one. You can also mention that, but these are the three keywords that we can search. And again, we already handled lowercase, right? So we don't need to say this. Because we handled by two lowercase, if you remember. And let's say search filter type by, or you don't even need, we are searching, we're just filtering. Filter type by low to high, high to low, as Z2. Now here, where did we add our method inside cart_util? If you remember from previous video, how do we access cart_util? Through setup. Setup has already initialized cart_util, if you remember. So I'm just gonna get to setup because setup has my cart and cart has my filter by. And you can see select option, but not interested because filter by is using select option. And let's search the first one, loader. And all it's gonna do is get to the website and change this to low to high, just like this. So we should see 1Z and bike light or something like that. All right. And that's it. Let's click run and see if we did everything just fine. Now it did something, but we didn't see nothing. or at least I didn't see because it was fast. So I'm just gonna comment this quit just to see the filter. All right, let's run. Now it's set as still A to Z, if you can see. Right? It's supposed to be load high, like this. Now, it's giving us the stale element right here, the link, because we want it, but it's not actually doing what we want it to do. Let's check it out. Or let's check what's going on in filter by. And does it have anything to do with refresh right here? Not really. I'm just going to close it. And let's see what other things we can do here. So we are pretty much all set here. Does it matter if we type the exact thing? Don't assume so, but let's try high to low to make sure it's not about it. But the note I put there says use this, right? Let's see if it's going to pick up high to low. Okay, it did pick high to low. Now that makes me wonder what's going on. Let's try to print low to high. Let's see if it's going to take that. That was interesting. Okay, there you go. It did find load high. But I don't like the way it's doing. Why can I not just do load high? So let's investigate that. All right. So let's try one more time. Load to run. Because we're just using contains, right? Now you can see load to high. So I don't know what happened, but it should do even with loader. Or let's try high to one more time without saying low. Run. High to low. There you go. So, and let's try one last one and then let's move on. And what's the other one? Low to high to and Z2. Let's see if it's going to filter by Z2. All right, there you go, Z2A. Now that's our red shirt right here. Now let's go on with low to high. So we're going to get this 1Z right here to our left. And let's see, this is 799. Let's see lowest of the lowest values inside this page. As you can see, there is 3 here, total 6 values, right? So let's try to get them and let's see what we can do with them. So we're done. Hopefully, if you have questions about filter by, don't hesitate, just ask. But you've seen how we achieved with select option and handling it inside filter by. And select option is right here. And so I don't want to see this, right? This link. So let's comment this and change this to ignored. You don't have to. This is a proper way of doing it. Now, we don't need to do it, but I'm just going to say ignored that get support. Now let's run one more time before we move forward. Let's see if we're going to get anything in the console. All right, so we got to Z to A. And let's check the console. It's clean. So that's how I want to keep it now. And now let's go forward. what do I want to do? I want to come back here and I want to get the prices inside the page. And let's investigate. And that's a class with inventory. So I'm just going to get rid of this one. I'm just going to say dot and paste this one. And if you look at it, it's just dot and then the class name. And there is 6 of them as expected because there is 3 on left, 3 on right. And they are, we're going to see if they're ordered from lowest to highest. If not, we're going to try doing that. All right. And now, if you have a locator that holds more than one value, it's not unique, it's commonly used, so we're going to plug this in. Let's copy inside a container, just like we did, right? What was our container? List of web elements. Now, inside of here, let's say list, and we're gonna call our driver. Why? Because driver is going to help find, do you see it's already offering us find elements because it kind of understood I copied this thingy. So what's the difference between find element and find elements? This is for one unique element. And if you put S at the end, you are getting multiple, more than one web element. And let's say by.xpath. And then let's plug this in right here. But we're not even doing XPath, so this is going to be CSS selected. And let me push this down so we can see it. Hopefully you guys like this big old screen. Now, this is done, and you can iterate through. Let's say, if you want to print out, let's say, this out list. Let's see what we're going to get, okay? It's going to be some random data. Or some things, let's see. All right, I can close it. Now you see bunch of text, right? Now, because list is not directly keeping them, we have to say list that, for example, get, and let's say get first one, right? Now, and actually, that's still gonna give us some address like that. So you have to say get text at the end. So we can see if we see $sign or something, at least for the first one. Okay. And it picked $15.99. That's interesting. I was expecting to see $7.99, the lowest one. But that means it's not ordered the way we want it, from lowest to highest. And we'll do that if given time. And let's plug this in to a for each and then print all of them. For each web element, let's say element, look at the list of web element and then print exactly like this. But with a minor difference, you don't have to say this. Instead, you're just going to say element.getText, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, just talk to me, all right? I need to know what you don't know, what you don't understand, so I can help you. Now, this is, as expected, going to print all the number values. And let's try if it's going to print. Okay. And now they're listed right here. Very good. Now this is not really ordered the way I want it. So what I'm gonna do, take this list, so we can comment this now. We know that's already there. Now let's do this. So here, I want to test again the similar statement. Let's get 1599 one more time. All right. What? Okay, let's put S right there. And this is gonna be again list dot get 0 dot get text. And let's print this out. Okay, Z to A. Okay, we got 1599. All right. So let's get rid of that $sign. All right. And we can do that. We know that $sign is at index 0, right? So we can start index at, we know this is a text, right? So I'm just going to say dot substring. And I'm just going to say start at 1. And then when I start at 1, it's going to skip the 0 and then start at 1, 5 and 9, 9 and blah, blah. And let's run and see if it's really doing what we ask it to do. Okay, that's done. Now it's cleaned. It was super simple. And I was like, guess what? This is right there. Now, and let's open this again. And let's push this down right here. And then I'm just gonna say, delete this. Change this with element. Now it's the same thing, but when we do this, it will still be unordered, right? Why do we have so much space here? Okay, now let's run. Okay, that's done. At least we know the $sign is cleared now. So you can see right here. Now, let's see if we can do what we want to do. Now, what I want to do is to first plug this inside a string, because that's one of the strings at every turn. So for example, this is string str, let's say, and then paste it. And then if you print str, let's do that. So let's be on the same page. Nothing has changed. It's the same thing, but I'll tell you why I separated it, so we can apply some things to it for ordering. Okay, that's done. And now we can see the numbers again. Now we don't need this one. We can see it at the bottom, but we're going to print something else. But say, how do I convert this to a number? It's simple. Now, if you notice, you can't use integer because it has decimal, so we're going to use double. So let's say double. No, we can't use reserved keyword. Let's say double D. And then I want to take, let's say double class again. And then you see the first option, parse double. And then plug in str. And then you're done. So what are we doing here? Convert str into decimal number. Now, what do we do with this number? We're gonna say what I needed number was, let's write it here, order values from lowest to highest. something like this. Okay, now what we're gonna say, let's pick a double value. Let's say double value equals 1.99. All right. And now this is going to be nearly saying, let's use the same type so you are not confused. But they're getting auto-boxed whenever you use lowercase or uppercase. Java can handle that. Now, like let's say if value is greater than D. What do I say here? If 199 is bigger than any of the numbers, which is not, right? So let's say 199. Then it will be yes, right? So let's keep this lower number so we can see the output and then go from here. Now if value is lower, and let's print D, but this is essentially going to give us the same output. But let's see if it's really doing that. You never know until you try. Okay. Oops, we didn't even get the... Oh. It didn't even get here. So let's see. Okay, this is saying use this, whatever. Now it can auto box it. Now, here, let's see how we can sort this up. All right, so let's get rid of this text right here. And then let's do utilize our collections, because sometimes you gotta use something's easy. We're gonna go a hard way next time. What is it? We're gonna use comparator to compare two numbers, but that's gonna be a whole different story, and that requires a lot of algorithm to think of. It's not a lot actually, I'm just joking, but it just takes some thinking and consideration of whether you want to use it or not. So that's what I'm gonna think about it, and then we can do it. Now, I want to store these values inside another list. Why? For example, let's say I already have list, but let me say I have a values list. Let's put here. This one is list of, let's say, is it double? Yep, it's double. And let's say values equals new array list. All right. Now, what am I gonna do with this one? Store values in decimal or floating points. Now, let's do just that. And how are we gonna do it? So we just need to say we're also inside the for each, so we can easily values dot add. What are we adding? D. Was it D? Yep. So we added values dot D. And we don't need to be inside the loop no more because we are now here filled up our values list, and now we can go about using collections. And don't get confused, guys, don't worry. This is just to try if it could help us sort. And it already has sort, and let's plug in values here. Let's see what it's gonna do. and it already takes type T. In generics, you see this one, list of T. Actually, this is, where did it go? Oh, right here. This is the thing I wanted to do initially, but I said, oh wow, this was already here. So why bother doing it, right? Inside collections class right here. So let's see, well, how it happens. Let's print out values. Let's see if they're ordered. And again, we're gonna add another utility to sort. And my favorite and easy one is the bubble sort, to tell you the truth. But there's also different kinds of sorts that we can use. It only takes one mind to think. All right, now you can see 799, 999. And now you can say whichever lowest one, just give me that one, you can say, or you can compare values with your given values. For example, if you had, let's say, double actual, and let's say 7.98. This is actually, this is the values. We know that it's the first one after sorted, right? Oh, this is not an array, so I'm just gonna use get O. All right. So, and our expected is, let's say, 798. All right. And we can put D at the end or not, whatever. And then we can just use assert class from TestNG and check equality. Now we're going to say actual equal expected. And now when we do this, this is a Boolean expression, right? So that says, don't do it because I'm going to do it for you, right? So you just need to plug in your actual and expected. If you wanted to do it like that, let me show you. That's another simple one. Assert just true, which is if actual double equal expected. And you can also put a message here, not equal. Let's put this. And we know it can be simplified, whatever. So we are doing, and we can see this note. I'm just going to keep both of them, and they are going to, oh wait, it's going to crank it here. So I'm just going to see through. Let's run. Okay, assertion error. Not equal. That's our note. Expected true, but found false. Let's use the other one. This was the Boolean one. Assert equals. This will show us the numbers actually. Let's run. Hopefully I'm not navigating too fast. And we can close. And now you can see assertion error. Expected 798, but found 799. All right, let's make it 9. So it's going to be equal. So you can get your assertion done like this. So this is going to work fine. Going next. All right. So let me make it smaller a little bit. So this is the method that we worked on. And feel free to ask your question. Don't worry about the collections.sort if you've never seen it, but I bet you've seen it or not, that's fine. And what I put some notes, but if something doesn't make sense, I can add more notes. Just tell me, talk to me, all right? Um, and then I'd like to hear your opinion about getting this boilerplate. But don't tell me inheritance. You know, I don't like it. I don't like to use it. So if you have another technology, talk to me. And I'm curious what you have to say about that. First, if you don't know what's a boilerplate, that's a code that you keep using it inside your classes, just like this one before an after class. But they don't hurt us right now. We're just doing our tests in the way that we can. And going next, we can actually do our own sort. Don't rely on collections class, but it's pretty straightforward. It does a job, neat. But if you guys are going into interviews, then they might ask you to know about different types of sort algorithms. It's important you do your research well on that. And that will be all for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. I want to thank all my subscribers. Thanks for keeping me updated. And I really appreciate all your efforts. Hopefully you find these videos helpful. And if not, give me thumbs up and down. Doesn't matter. All that matters is both parties learn and we both learn from our mistakes. That's what matters. And thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye now.